I'd like to get this meeting started, if we could, so I'm going to call this to order. If everyone would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for coming this evening. I guess everyone is attending one of the 5 or 6 sporting events that are going on behind us. I know that there's a baseball game, softball game, high school lacrosse, tennis match, varsity tennis, and middle school lacrosse. So I'm going to assume that's where everyone is. I had a couple of remarks. For those of you who don't know, my name is Tim Harkins. I'm the chairman of the RSU1 school board. Just a couple of things I wanted to mention. For those of you who aren't familiar with this process for the budget, I want to give you a quick summary of how this all goes down and what these articles mean. The format that we presented is one that's dictated by the state. It can be a little convoluted. But to sort of summarize things, all the expenses, everything that we expend in the district are Articles 2 through 12. And that totals a little over $28 million yearly, $29 million. If you look on the handout on page 14, under 2017, 2018, the local contribution, the $17,765,567 is the amount of money that we're going to be raising this evening. That's the local portion. That number is comprised of Articles 13, just the local state required portion, Article 14, Article 15, which is the additional local, Article 17, and Article 18. That is the revenue, that is the amount of dollars that we'll be raising, hopefully tonight, which totals the $17,765,000. Article 16 is the article that authorizes us to spend them. So again, Articles 2 through 12 are the expenses of the district. Articles 13, 14, 15, 17, 18 are the revenue that we're raising. 16 is what authorizes us to spend that. And the difference between our $28 million in expenses and our $17 million in revenue is the additional revenue that you see on that page 14. The balance forward, the gas tax refund, miscellaneous revenue, state agency tuition, other tuition, and then the $9 million in state subsidies. So that's just a summary, maybe help you as we follow along. The other thing I wanted to mention this evening is just give you an update on where the district stands with the new high school construction project. At this point, the district has acquired a site and it has been approved by the state. That site will encompass most of the remaining lots up at Wing Farm Parkway, which is just up here if I'm pointing in the right direction. And there were a couple of adjoining pieces of land as well. The committees, and we have a number of them. We have a design committee, we have a sustainability committee, we have a build committee, the staff meet in the committee. They've been meeting now for probably 4 to 6 months, talking about this project, in the planning of it. 3 of those committees have come together, and we hope to have a design in place by the 1st to middle of June, which would allow us probably, it will be sometime this fall for a referendum to approve the new high school. So all of that information is online. If you have any questions, you can certainly call the central office. But this is a really exciting project. And what we're doing now with this new high school is something that's going to stand in this community for another 80 to 100 years. So I encourage you to participate and to get get involved with what's going on. All right, so on to tonight's business. I, Timothy Harkins, as chairperson of the RSU1 Board of Directors, am announcing that Deborah Clark, a resident of RSU1, has warned and notified the inhabitants of Rouseck, Bath, Phippsburg, and Woolwich who are qualified by law to vote in town affairs to assemble at this time and place for the purpose of acting on the articles listed in the warrant dated on the 8th day of May in the year 2017. Attested copies of the warrant were posted on May 9th, 2017 at the Bath City Hall and the town halls of Rouseck, Phippsburg, and Woolwich, all being public and conspicuous places and being at least 7 days prior to the budget meeting. Also distributed to municipal offices and various public locations and internet websites throughout the RSU1 at least 7 days prior to the budget meeting was our annual budget report that contains this warrant. We'll begin with Article 1. We need to elect a moderator to preside at this meeting. Is there a nomination for moderator? Yes?
I nominate John Moss.
Do we have a second? Okay, are there any other nominations for moderator? Okay, hearing none, we will now conduct the vote. I need folks with ballots to come forward, write your name, write the name of the moderator, and bring it up to the ballot box.
We just need 3 people to come forward. There's green papers up here. Just write in John Morse's name and you approve. No. Bring your pink card with you, but you'll be writing on the green piece of paper.
So I need 3 people, 3 or more. Okay, the votes have been collected and counted. I declare John Morse has been duly elected to serve once again as moderator for this evening. John, would you please come up so we can administer the oath? What I'm going to ask you to do, if you'd like, to save time, if you just want to read that oath right there.
I, John G. Morse, forth do swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and of this state as long as I shall continue a citizen thereof, so help me God. I do swear that I will discharge to the best of my abilities the duties incumbent on me as moderator for this meeting or election according to the Constitution and laws of the state, so help me God. Welcome. You all, I presume that you all have checked in and you all have your pink voting card and you have your packet with the warrant in it. And the articles are on page 22 through 28 and you should have one white blank ballot that you will need to use towards the end of the meeting. I would also point out to you that there is a typo On page 27 in Article 17, it says at the bottom there's a recommended number that's 65,800. But in the wording in the article, body of the article, it says 63,000. So 65,800 is the correct number in the body of Article 17. I'm sure that most of you have been to a town meeting or been to one of these meetings before, so you know the procedure. Is there anybody that doesn't that would like me to explain how I work this? I do have one rule that I go by, and that's the KISS principle. Keep it simple, stupid. I'm the stupid one so far. In order for me to not make mistakes, you people have to keep it simple. And in doing so, I'm only going to allow one amendment on the floor at a time. And if there is an amendment, we will act upon and vote upon that amendment. And then if somebody wants to do another amendment, then we will do that. But one at a time so that we don't get confused. Also, when you hold your card up and you expect me to count it, don't hold it like that, because I can't see it when you hold it like that. Hold it this way. If there is a question about a vote on an article, just raise your hand and get my attention and have permission to speak and say, I doubt the vote. If there are 7 other people that will agree with you that they doubt the vote, we will find another way to count the vote so that we get it right. I'm here as a facilitator so that whatever you want to do gets done properly. Also, if I make a mistake, I leave out something, or you question how we go about some process, a procedural question, get permission to speak and say, point of order, Mr. Moderator, ask your question about what's going on and how it should work. And last of all, please silence your phones, because I don't want to embarrass somebody in the back row while your phone's still working. So, the next article is Article 2, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for regular instruction. The recommended amount is $11,154,683. Do we have a motion on Article 2?
I move the article as written.
Second?
I second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion or questions? Okay. Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor of Article 2 for the recommended amount? Opposed? Passes for the recommended amount. Article 3, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for special education. The recommended amount is $5,292,145. We have a motion on Article 3.
Yes, I move the motion as read.
I second.
Any discussion or questions on Article 3? We are an easy group. All right, all those in favor of Article 3, the recommended amount? Opposed? Passes as for the recommended amount. Article 4, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for career and technical education. Recommended amount is $1,298,857. We have a motion on Article 4.
I move the motion as written.
I'll second the motion.
Any questions, discussion? Okay, all those in favor of Article 4 for the recommended amount? Opposed? Passes for the recommended amount. Article 5, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for other instruction. The recommended amount is $646,423. We have a motion on Article 5.
I move the motion as written.
I second.
Questions? Discussion? If not, all those in favor of Article 5 for the recommended amount? Opposed? Passes for the recommended amount. Article 6, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for student and staff support. The recommended amount is $2,607,174. We have a motion on Article 6.
I move the articles written. I second.
Any questions? Discussion? If not, all in favor? Opposed? Passes for the recommended amount. Article 7, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for system administration. Recommended amount is $562,863. We have a motion on Article 7.
I move the article as written.
I second.
Any questions or discussion? If not, all in favor? Opposed? Passes for the recommended amount. Article 8, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for school administration. Recommended amount is $1,570,337. Have a motion on Article 8.
I move the article as written.
I'll second the motion.
Questions? Discussion? If not, all those in favor? Opposed? Passes for the recommended amount. Article 9, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for transportation. The recommended amount is $1,310,770. We have a motion on Article 9.
I move the articles written. I second.
Questions? Discussion? If not, all in favor? Opposed? Passes for the recommended amount. Article 10, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for facilities maintenance. Recommended amount is $2,905,153. We have a motion on Article 10.
Move the article as written.
I second.
Questions? Yes. Wait for the microphone, please.
Can we have an explanation for why it's down so much this year?
Yeah.
Yeah, the primary reason is just we went out for an oil bid, and the oil came back quite a bit cheaper. Plus the bond that the community has approved recently, not as much, not as many big projects to do on our schools as well.
Any other questions? If not, all those in favor of Article 10 for the recommended amount? Opposed? Passes for the recommended amount. Article 11, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for debt service. Recommended amount is $1,299,815. We have a motion on Article 11.
Move the article as written.
I second.
Questions? If not, all those in favor of Article 11, the recommended amount? Opposed? Passes for the recommended amount. Article 12, to see what sum the regional school unit will be authorized to expend for other food service transfer. The recommended amount is $240,000. We have a motion on Article 12.
I recommend the article as written.
I second.
Any questions? Yes, Greg?
Could someone please justify the 85% increase?
Deb, do you want to take this one?
I'm going to read, this cost center is up significantly from last year's total of $90,000. And this is to help close the gap between the revenues and program expenses. We're currently operating with a deficit in this fund. It's a completely separate fund. It's been an accumulation over a good 4 years, and so that's the reason for the larger increase to close that deficit.
Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, all those in favor of Article 12, the recommended amount? Opposed? Passes for the recommended amount. Article 13, now we've gone through the line items in the budget, now we're going into the revenue items and actually spending money. Article 13, to see what sum the regional school unit will appropriate for the total cost of funding public education from pre-kindergarten to grade 12 as described in the Essential Programs and Services Funding Act, and to see what sum the regional school unit will raise and assess as each municipality's contribution to the total cost of funding public education from pre-kindergarten to grade 12 as described in the Essential Programs and Services Funding Act in accordance with Maine Revised Statutes Title 20-A, Section 15688. The recommended amount is set below, and that is a total appropriation of $22,853,836, and then the local assessments total $13,415,183. So, on the question, is there a motion for Article 13?
I move the article as written.
I second.
Are there questions, discussion, or explanation on Article 13?
Yes.
Tim?
John, this is kind of a key article, so I just want to let you folks know that on the left-hand side of that column, that EPS calculation, that's a calculation that the state does, and that $22 million number, almost $23 million, is the minimum that they feel that we can operate our school district on. But there are some items that aren't included in that number, such as transportation, some additional outside services, intercurricular, I think, or excuse me, extracurricular. But the state feels that we can run the school on 22, almost 23 million. On the right-hand column, the required local, that number is what each of the communities will be raising. So, for instance, if you look at the town of Arousig, $448,123, the difference between that and the 483 is the little bit of subsidy that Arousig receives. Look at City of Bath. The amount that we're asking Bath to raise is a little over $7 million. The difference between that number and the $13.2 million is the subsidy that the City of Bath receives. And you can go down the line for the other communities of the RSU, town of Fitchburg, town of Woolwich. So just to give you some insight as to where those numbers are derived from.
Any other questions? Okay, all those in favor of Article 13 as printed? Opposed? Passes for the recommended amounts. Article 14, to see what sum the regional school unit will raise and appropriate for the annual payments on debt service previously approved by the legislative body for non-state funded school construction projects. Non-state funded portions of school construction projects and minor capital projects in addition to the funds appropriated as the local share of the school administrative unit's contribution to the total cost of funding public education from pre-kindergarten to grade 12. The recommended amount is $715,231. We have a motion on Article 14.
I move the articles written. I second.
Any explanation on this, or discussion, or questions?
Just to let you folks know, a couple of things here. That number, 715,000, the breakdown of that is Bath Middle School debt of $308,815. The system-wide 2008 bond for $298,900. Our 2014 system-wide bond for $63,999, and for Woolwich Central School, $47,517. I don't have the figures on this, but I know when we met with our auditors that RSU1 is well below the state average in terms of debt percentage to total expenditures. So the debt that we're currently carrying is well below the state average percentage-wise.
Any questions? If not, all in favor? Opposed? Passes for the recommended amount. Okay, Article 15. Shall the regional school unit raise and appropriate $3,544,353 in additional local funds, which exceeds the state's essential programs and services allocation model by $2,874,434, as required to fund the budget recommended by the Regional School Unit Board of Directors. The Board of Directors recommends $3,544,353 for additional local funds and gives the following reasons for exceeding the state's essential programs and services funding model by $874,434. The additional local funds represent local costs to support the regional school unit programs that are not included in the state's funding model, including costs for co-curricular and extracurricular activities, transportation, and special education services. The Board of Directors recommends a yes vote. Now, by law, we have to vote on this by written ballot. So before we mark our ballots and vote on this, is there any discussion? Are there any questions about this? Right, we need a motion too.
I move this article as written.
I second.
And I'll just add, so this number represents, as I said, these are the things that aren't funded through the state formula. John referenced some of them: co-curricular, extracurricular, transportation, and some special ed services. This is the additional money that we would raise over and above the EPS formula that the state requires to fund the school district.
Any other questions? All right. What we're going to do is, you've got a white ballot. You can mark that ballot. Do not fold it. Do not fold the ballot. When you come up, put it in either one of the ballot boxes. Just show your pink card to the ballot clerk and put your ballot in the box. So we'll have a little brief, not an adjournment, but a pause while we do the voting and get the ballots counted.
Stephen Griffin. Okay.
The polls are now closed. We'll wait for the count. Back to order. The results of the vote on Article 15 are 37 yes and 1 no. So the article passes. Article 16, to see what sum the regional school unit will authorize the school committee to expend for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2017 and ending June 30, 2018 from the school administrative unit's contribution to the total cost of funding public education from pre-kindergarten to grade 12 as described in the Essential Programs and Services Funding Act, non-state funded school construction projects, additional local funds for school purposes under the Maine Revised Statutes, Title 20-A, Section 15690, unexpended balances, tuition receipts, and state subsidies and other receipts for support of schools. The recommended amount is $28,888,220. This is the total expenditures for the school union. Do we have a motion on Article 16?
I move the article as written.
I second.
Okay. Any questions about this? This is the total budget that you're authorizing, bottom line. If not, all in favor? Opposed? Passes. The recommended amount. Article 17, to see if the regional school unit will appropriate $281,692 for adult education and raise $65,800 as the local share, with authorization to expend any additional incidental or miscellaneous receipts in the interest and for the well-being of the adult education program. And this is the recommended amount here is $65,800. Do we have a motion on Article 17?
Move the motion as written.
I second.
Any questions? If not, all those in favor of Article 17? Opposed? Passes. Article 18, Capital Reserve Funds. Shall the Board of Directors be authorized to raise $25,000 for the previously established Capital Reserve Fund and be further authorized to expend the funds if necessary. The Board of Directors Board of Directors recommends a yes vote. We have a motion on Article 18.
Move the article as written.
I second.
Any questions? Discussion? Yes.
Just to let folks know, our capital reserve account, if this amount is approved, will bring us up to $325,000 in that account.
Any other questions or discussion? Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. For the building project for the high school, if there's any unanticipated cost, another environmental study or what have you, does that come right from the state, or would we need to make sure we have funds in this account for any unexpected expenditures with the new school program going forward?
Hopefully, the way that the state runs the program is with the money that they're expending, they've allocated funds for studies and permitting and that sort of thing. The responsibility of the district will be for any additional features that would not be covered by the state fund. Some of the things that we're looking at are expanding from the state funding, the state will fund an auditorium. We would like to have a theater, so we may bond for that additional amount. But that would be money that we would bond out. We would not tap into this fund. And if we had to, we would reimburse that fund. So I think at this point, there are some costs that we are out of pocket, that once the state begins to fund the project, they will reimburse us for that.
So we're pretty confident that this would be sufficient to cover any surprises, I guess. What I'm asking whether if we would consider bumping this up as a hedging our bets a little bit.
No, that's a good question, but I think we feel confident we have enough to cover to get us through until the state starts funding the project.
Thank you.
Any other questions on Article 18? If not, all those in favor of Article 18? Opposed? Passes. Article 19, in the event that the regional school unit receives more state education subsidy than the amount included in its budget, shall the school board be authorized to use all or part of the additional state subsidy to increase expenditures for school purposes in cost center categories approved by the school board, increase the allocation of finances in a reserve fund approved by the school board, and or decrease the local cost share expectation as defined in Title 20-A, Section 15671-A1B for local property taxpayers for funding public education as approved by the school board. The Board of Directors recommends a yes vote. We have a motion on Article 19.
I move the article as written.
I second.
Do we need to discuss an explanation of this?
Sure.
It's a unique article.
So, Article 19, essentially what this is saying is this authorizes the board, if for some reason we were to receive additional funds through the state subsidy program, because that number oftentimes is changing right up until the point that we receive it. If we receive additional funds, this article authorizes us to put that money away, spend it on additional programming, or use it to offset municipal taxes. In the past, we have had situations where we've received more money from the state than anticipated in these warrant articles, and in the past, we have reduced the amount that we've asked from the local communities, or we've refunded money back to the local communities to offset the increase that they've seen. So this article gives us all of those options.
Any questions? If not, all in favor of Article 19? Opposed? Passes. Article 20. And in addition to the amount in Article 16, shall the voters authorize the Board of Directors to accept and expend any state, federal, and other grants and receipts during the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2017 and ending June 30, 2018 for school purposes, provided that such grants, aid, and receipts do not require expenditure of local funds not previously appropriated. The Board of Directors recommends a yes vote. Do we have a motion on Article 20?
I move the article as written.
Second motion.
Any questions or discussion about Article 20? If not, all in favor? Opposed? Passes as written. At this point in time, we will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. Have a second? Second. All in favor? Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you very much.